Join me as I dive into Malcolm X's powerful words and see if I can uncover the hidden agenda of the Democrats. Malcolm X is often regarded as one of the most pivotal figures in the civil rights movement, and for good reason. His unwavering commitment to social justice, coupled with his sharp intellect and eloquence, made him a powerful force for change. But what's often overlooked is the timeliness of his insights, which still resonate deeply today, particularly when it comes to the political landscape. The Democratic Party has historically positioned itself as the champion of marginalized communities, promising to fight for their rights and address their grievances. But if we scratch beneath the surface, we find a disconnect between these lofty promises and the harsh realities faced by those very same communities. To understand this disconnect, we need to take a step back and examine the historical context in which these promises were made. The Democratic Party's reputation as a beacon of progressivism has been built on the backs of marginalized communities who have repeatedly been promised the world, only to be betrayed when it comes to actual policy decisions. Take, for instance, the 1964 Civil Rights Act, hailed as a landmark victory for the Democratic Party. While it was undoubtedly a crucial step forward, it was also watered down to appease Southern Democrats, rendering it far less effective than it could have been. This pattern of compromise has been repeated time and again, with the party prioritizing its own power over the interests of its most loyal constituents. The Democrats' willingness to sacrifice the interests of marginalized communities at the altar of political expediency has been a recurring theme throughout their history. This disconnect is particularly glaring when we examine the role of Democratic leadership in perpetuating systemic inequality. From the war on drugs to mass incarceration, Democratic policies have disproportionately harmed communities of color, further entrenching the very injustices they claim to be fighting. The rhetoric of progressivism has been used to mask a far more sinister reality, one in which the party's commitment to social justice is superficial at best. Malcolm X was acutely aware of this disconnect, and he didn't mince words when it came to calling out the Democrats for their hypocrisy. He saw the party's promises for what they were: empty rhetoric designed to placate and pacify, rather than genuine attempts at reform. In his view, the Democrats were complicit in the oppression of African Americans, and their policies were designed to maintain the status quo rather than challenge it. One of Malcolm X's most scathing critiques of the Democratic Party came in the form of a speech he gave in 1964 in which he said, "The Democrats are more hypocritical than the Republicans because they claim to be for you, but they're not for you." This quote perfectly encapsulates his disdain for the party's duplicity, and its relevance today is striking. The Democrats' willingness to pay lip service to social justice, while doing little to actually address the systemic inequalities that plague our society, is a betrayal of the trust placed in them by marginalized communities. This quote is particularly powerful because it highlights the Democrats' tendency to use marginalized communities as pawns in their game of political power. By co-opting the language of social justice, they're able to present themselves as champions of the oppressed while doing little to actually challenge the systems of oppression that exist. Malcolm X saw this for what it was: a cynical ploy to maintain power rather than a genuine attempt at reform. Malcolm X's critique of the Democrats is a powerful reminder that the struggle for social justice is far from over. His words continue to resonate today, serving as a warning against the dangers of complacency and the importance of critical thinking. By examining the historical context of the Democratic Party's promises, we can begin to understand the disconnect between their rhetoric and the harsh realities faced by marginalized communities. Malcolm X's insights into the Democratic Party's hidden agenda offer a stark reminder of the need for critical thinking and vigilance in our political discourse. By understanding the ways in which the party has historically betrayed the interests of marginalized communities, we can begin to build a more just and equitable society. Thanks for watching, and if you want to dive deeper into the world of political history, be sure to check out my next video.